Hello, hello. I want to thank y'all for joining us here for the Rise Meet the Artist Talk. I really, really want a space where I could tell my story. And I said, I've been feeling the same way. I've been feeling like, you know, I want to feel a community as an artist. And a lot of times as artists, we create alone and we're in our own little islands. And so it's really, really important that we find a space for us to, by us where we can say, hey, this is how I need support, and we can just really have that community feel. And so we didn't really feel like we had that. And so we came together to do that in 2018. And so our first event was Art of Collab. And so we just had a networking event with different artists and creatives. And we just talked about things that we wanted to see and just our journeys. And from there, we just continued to grow. And we may not have had the access to be able to rent out a gallery space to do a show, but little by little, we were able to find opportunities. And so we want to thank this particular community, town of Eatonville, the community of Eatonville, because this community saw us. This community said, hey, we understand that y'all are Black and brown artists. We want to give y'all a platform and a space. And so we really, really thankful for this beautiful neighborhood that is historic. This is the first African American neighborhood in America. This town was built by free slaves, people who were hardworking people who were pioneers, leaders, creatives, builders, dreamers, writers, like Zora Neale Hurston, who grew up in this neighborhood. These people built this beautiful community when they had very little access to very much, and so they made gold out of, and they made diamonds out of what we know our history, African American history, and where we come from. They were able to make diamonds out of that, and so this community is a testament to that. And so we're really thankful because they gave us our first opportunity to do an outdoor gallery space actually right there on that land. So Founders Day was in 2017, and a couple folks from the town, they said, we need a nice art experience at our Founders Day festival. And so we're like, yeah, let's do it. So we put art in a tent, we got rails, and we just made our own gallery outdoors, and outdoor gallery, and it was just amazing. And that was like our start to be able to say, hey, we could do this. We could show our work. We could create a space for us as artists to showcase work. And so from there, we were invited to create a mural project at the Elizabeth Park. And so we'll talk a little bit about that and our beginnings and how that happened. But just to tell you our story, we just started from wanting to see more for our communities, wanting to see more for each other. And we were like, hey, what better way to serve our community of artists than artists who knows what, like we know what we need. And so we're basically artists who curate experiences for other artists and with each other. And so our projects are a testament of that. We were all so, just so happy just to have an opportunity to really share our creativity with our community and connect in such a way. Even some artists who are established, they're only used to maybe connecting to the community through galleries and museums. And so to be able to have that one-to-one connection with everyday people and the neighbors of the community. I mean, people were letting us borrow brooms and, their coolers for water. And, I got to reconnect with some people around here that I went to high school with. And they're like, listen, if I see any graffiti artists, I got you. I'm going to make sure I'm going to run them out, So basically, we've had this mural for 4 years and no one has touched it. Everyone has respected it because we wanted to make sure that we connected to the neighbors, to the aunties on the porch that's looking. She's always looking, and we appreciate that because it's been protected, it's been respected. It's also been a joy for them, right? Just to be able to see this every day. When they imagine just being able to walk out of your front door and see art every day. And for many years they just saw the park and a beige wall, and so it was just really amazing that we were able to do that, and especially in this generation where kids don't really play outside like that, like they're on the TikTok and the phones and the iPads, and so we started to see more kids playing basketball and just utilizing the park more, and that was exactly why we wanted to do it, to really inspire the next generation to play, to connect, but also connect to their culture and their heritage through the art and through the murals. And so as somebody who identifies as a poet and a multi-medium artist and a visual artist, I don't really see those worlds combined, even though those worlds are always together, especially during the Renaissance era, like Herman was saying, like Lemus was saying. During that time, the poets were rolling with the visual artists and the painters and the photographers, and they were all in the room building community together. And so I wasn't seeing that a lot lately. And so I was like, especially in the public art space, so I was like, what if we put excerpts of poetry? And so that was kind of like the seed in which the project's vision was born. And so we thought about doing an artist call to visual artists, muralists, and then poets. So poets were able to, back in December 2019, we did a call to the entire Central Florida. We said, hey, we looking for poets, we're looking for muralists. And so poets like Joaquin and She submitted their beautiful poems that fit we just told them the theme is Rise. And we were just overwhelmed at how many beautiful poems that we received. And so you just saw like maybe half of what was submitted. Of course, we couldn't select everybody, but we selected just enough for each wall.
So what I did was if you go out there, they had like the different states on the floor. It was very bland and like no color, no nothing. So me and I had a different couple concepts. And then Mariah was like, hey, nobody's doing the floor, so why don't you kind of create something for the floor? Only thing is you have to do it last because, the paint is different. I said, okay, that's cool, but it worked out perfectly. At the time I was at the hospital. I just started working for the hospital, so it worked out for me to be able to do what I wanted to do. First time using an oil-based paint, so I just came up with a sketch to make it like a polygon, so just bring some more vibrancy colors in it, and that's kind of what I ended up doing. And even towards the very, very end, I finished it off at the end with the black outline. So it was dope to do that. I was able to kind of feed off everybody's energy going into it. I even remember the time coming in to find out that Kobe Bryant died. I was like, what? I was like, nah, man, you're lying. I was like, nah. The first week. I was like, what? So that inspiration, even that was just to even go harder no matter what. I was out there when it rained a few times. It drizzled. I still did it. Still came out there and just got it done. And to see it after the fact, like how vibrant it was before and after was really dope. So that was my first time doing a large scale painting like that, using oil based painting directly on the ground, because usually I'm used to spraying upright. So that was not challenging in a bad sense. It was just something different. But I had a lot of fun with that, so I was just happy to bring some vibrancy to it. Some people we did like a little game of like basically you jump on your state where you from, take a picture, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. So just to make, she said, bring some more creativity games to it, to kind of incorporate play with art and stuff like that. So that was the concept I did.
The sketching led me to create the rhythm of the mural. So I wanted your eyes to be focused on her, also how Afrocentric she was, and how she was trying to capture her trips and how she connected with herself and her roots when she ended up in Africa with Malcolm. And so that's what I went with. I went with very vibrant colors. And if you look, she's looking up into the sky like it's her eyes are looking up to God. So I flipped it in that way, in that sense, where she's adorned, but at the same time, it's like when I heard that her grave, can you tell me a little bit more about the story? She was buried in an unmarked grave in Fort Pierce. That destroyed me inside. I was like, man, how can, because when you're buried, especially somebody in that stature that has done something for the community, and for you to be buried and not have at least, the chance to be paid homage to, when you pass away, I was like, no, this is going to be those spots that you're going to celebrate her. That was the first mural that I had a chance to do, just regular household paints, obviously exterior paints with aerosol. And so I mixed all that together to create a huge piece. Because of that mural, it led me to have so much work. And I was complaining the whole entire time. Now, we should be getting paid a whole lot more. So if there's anybody from the city right here, right now, the next mural we do, we all getting paid really well.
Facts.
All right?
Facts.
But we still did it out of
love.
This right here.
Yeah, facts.
And that was the best thing I could have done. I've gotten paid so well with murals after that, but because of the struggle and the story behind that piece, I was like, that's probably one of my greatest joys, to see everybody enjoy that piece.
That's a fact. I have to bounce off that. The term starving artist is dead.
That's
right. We ain't starving. We just need people like y'all that love the art to support us. And I have to agree. Like, being able to do these opportunities like this from the heart does open doors for you to where like you end up doing stuff for bigger projects. I was blessed to do a project for the Magic. You know, I never thought I'd be able to do something like that. I got a custom piece for them in their training facility. You know what I'm saying? So because of projects like this, because we did it out of for the love of what we love to do it, and you know, I've learned the resources of that comes later when you do it from the heart. When you do it the reversal, it don't come like that. You know what I mean? So and that's my brother. He's considered one of my art gurus. So you know, projects like this also came because of just listening in his wisdom and you know knowing my sister Mariah and stuff like that, and just collaboration. We all break bread with each other, and that's how it's supposed to go. We're like an external family from your original family as artists. That's what's supposed to happen.
So I'm finding spots where I feel like young brown black children can be inspired, and also white people too. I want everybody to be inspired because we're looking for everybody's consciousness. So that's what changed after that. Was I saw the impact of what it did to that to the community here in Eatonville, and I'm like, all right, I want the same thing wherever I go. I'm not just gonna pick some because Coca-Cola asked me to paint an ad, some on the side of the building. It's cool. It'll be a nice, you know, payday. But the payday consciously, there's nothing compared to that.
It was a lot to take in, really. Like, I didn't know how I was gonna tackle this, but again, like being around like experts, they was like role models to me, like celebrities. I was like, bro, I do this on paper, but you guys do it on walls. How am I gonna scale this on the wall? I just couldn't wrap my head around it. So I was like, yo, you just mark it up, and then you could do a sketch and just measure it out. I remember Stark was telling me about it too, and Saint helped me as well, cause he do paint windows and all type of crazy things. I'm like, wow, this is possible. You could do anything. So I'm like, okay. So I just went to the drawing board home, and I just went studying, finding out the history about Eatonville and the founders, Joe, Lewis, Eaton, and just finding out how Zora she just resonated with the community, and she just did it through poetry, did it through basically what we do in art, and that her face right there is how it feels to be colored me. That's a poem. That's a scene within the poem, and you see the roots on the bottom of the mural. They're holding up the town, because that's the roots. That's the foundation. And when you have a strong foundation, that's how you really get to where you're trying to go to. And you see the buildings, the churches, and all of these areas, and it's just a place where it's just these little gems, these little Easter eggs in Orlando, where you can find like historic places where James Brown, Billie Holiday, Ray Charles, they used to love to come over here and kick a good time. So it's a place where I think people need to look back on. This is like a Hollywood, basically, like just it's historical, and I think it's beautiful because it symbolizes the community. As you can see, it's messages, it's hands and feet, and just surrounded the whole mural, and it's telling you that the community built this, and it's showing you how we started from nothing, and they're raising the children through time, and it's teamwork, and you see it's signs of Africa in there as well. So you have all things intertwined with the trade, the slave trade through now. So everything is a time capsule, like a timeline, and it's just to touch the kid, so you can see a kid right underneath the founder. She's looking into the eye, pointing at it, and she's being inspired by what she sees. So it's a lot of messages. Like, I could keep going, but I really just wanted to dig into this and figure out ways to just put as much as I could, because this is my first mural, mind you. So I was like, wow, what could I do? So I really just dug into it through that, and I kept adding along the way as well. So, and then the poetry on top of it was dope. So I loved the whole project, really. It touched me.
I am Nikki Fragala Barnes. I was one of the poets. Gina, who you got to see in that incredible film, is a longtime friend and collaborator of mine. We've been working together for like 10 years, and we saw Mariah and Nathalie's call, and we were like, if we don't send something in, we're gonna regret it. And we had no idea, none of us did, right, what it was we were like cooking up, right? We were just like throwing stuff in the pan and like magic. I mean, it was hard. It was really hard work. We were definitely out there at night with lights. I remember my partner holding an umbrella over Gina's head in the rain so she could keep painting, because we were on a crazy deadline. We didn't know the world was going to end a couple weeks later. That's right. That's right. That's right. I am a poet. I've always been a writer. I don't remember a time in my life when I was not writing. My mom was a teacher, also in South Florida, and I think you hear how much it matters to have teachers and libraries, and that this is where like real seeds grow. I mean, it's really profound, and to collaborate with visual artists was amazing. I usually do experimental work, which is really, weird and unusual, and this was a space of collaboration that was just transcendent. I mean, it changed all of our lives. Like, I commissioned Ty to do work. We worked downtown together at Immerse a couple years ago. Also, Lima started a studio that like grows, whole gardens of people and artists and amazingness, and everybody's work has been transformational. And I think you see it in the world, but it's in us too.
I was journaling and just sketching imagine, I was thinking of names to name an event. It was supposed to be like an event. And years later, 2022, I saw the journal and it was like Rise, and it freaked me out because this happened, and I forgot that was something that was on my heart to do, and it was a dream to be able to have a whole bunch of artists come together. In what facet, I had no idea, but just to be able to encourage people like us who felt invisible. I felt invisible as an artist, as a storyteller. I felt like, okay, nobody wants to see me. Nobody wants to see my story. Sorry.
Look what you did.
So, I came back home and I went from having community in Tallahassee to coming back home and not having a space to show work. I would submit to stuff and get rejection after rejection. And I felt like it's something wrong with me. It's something wrong with what I'm creating. And then, God sent me my friends who was like, listen, let's do something together. Let's continue that vision. And so, I think everybody who was a part of this project, because this was my own reawakening into what could be, what's possible for not only myself but all of us, so that we could create spaces to where we can show work. We don't have to submit, because we are creating the vision together. And there's a lot of gatekeeping, there's a lot of nepotism in the art world, and so we created Art of Collab so that doesn't happen, so that we could say, hey, you need a space to show your work, to tell your story. How can we get behind you to make it happen? So to this day, first time I met a lot of these folks was a part of this project, and we're still family. We have a group chat. We share art calls hey, City of Orlando's looking for a mural at the mosquito plant, random stuff. But what you need, and so we help each other with applications. Hey, Nikki, I don't know can you look over this? Or, a lot of us have different gifts. Eatonville gave us that first opportunity, and so we're eternally grateful for Eatonville. And so with that, I want to ask all y'all, what did this mean for y'all as an artist? I know, Lemus, you touched on it, but what did it mean to you to create specifically in the town of Eatonville? What did it mean for you specifically to create at a park?
I was already in love with so many of those famous people that you mentioned from the Harlem Renaissance, way back in the 90s. And I was, they didn't have a major at my college in Black literature and Black poetry, so I just took every class I could. And we weren't yet asking the questions about what do we do with all these white people who know Black poetry, and what do we do with them? And I was in love with Zora's work, and her words just brought things to life. And Nikki Giovanni, and just so many. And I had been looking for 20 years for something to do as a thank you for bringing me to life, you know, and like making the things in my soul grow. And I mean, it's a church out there.
Oh.
And what matters, I think, is that they were there and that we are here too.
When I was in high school, living in Dade County, I would spend countless nights at the basketball court because we were poor growing up and we didn't have a whole lot. So I would just be in the basketball court when the lights shut off, and I'll be at the top of the key just just making my free throws count. And so I always, well, one of the nights that I was there, I was working a little later, and there was a few kids that showed up and started playing ball. I put my brushes down. Can I join y'all? Start playing ball with them till like almost 11 o'clock at night. We were just playing ball. Everybody in the neighborhood came out in pure darkness, you know what I mean? And just playing ball.
Before they had lights out. Yeah.
For the yeah. And I just went right back to that moment, you know, when I was in school. So I'm like, man, it's like to do this piece right here next to a basketball court where, you know, I have two boys that are into sports, coach. You know, nobody know this man right here. He's one of the best coaches out here, you know what I'm saying? He's brought up boys to win championships. So he coaches them. I'm not that far from here in Rosemont community. And, you know, it's like it's really important for our children to be raised around that kind of environment. So doing that piece right there where athletics will happen, you know what I'm saying, and the pool's there, there's all kinds of things, that definitely brought it home for me because I'm like, man, I spent countless nights there trying to stay out of trouble. So it's a good place for me to go ahead and let me put that seed in there for you. You know, there's a whole lot more than just sports in here. Just find out your roots.
I would say this Rise project for me definitely helped especially during that time frame with the COVID situation and the shutdown of the nation and stuff like that. And I think even in that moment of 2020 for me was more of the vision of being real with yourself. It was like a 2020 vision. I remember even this project, like I wasn't driving. I think I was riding the bus, catching a bike. I think I rented one of those little mini bicycle scooters that you can rent from the hospital, rolled it all the way to Eatonville, parked it, did my thing and stuff like that, caught in the rain, whatever. Just to show that you got to rise above all your struggles and tribulations and find the end result and that the light at the tunnel is there and it will shine and the sun does come back out even through your storm. So I think with the group of my newfound friends, family, it encouraged me to continue to go even through the rough patches. I remember when I first started doing it, I met AJ through Wifey because they worked together. And she's like, yo, I met this young man. He paints, he draws. She showed me some of his work. I said, yo, that's fire. And I told him about the project. And he's like, yo, Jay, this is what I got. And then I come back and forth to see his project. And like, he don't, no cap, with his flashlight, with his phone, making sure that AJ was making sure he got done what he wanted because the opportunity was presented to him. Stay in his lane. He's like, yo, man, what you think about this? I was like, yo, do your thing. It's looking good, bro. And then y'all see it now. It looks great. So for me, the Rise Project was just for us to all rise as artists to elevate and to grow as people spiritually, too, as well. Art is something that we all connect with because, you know, it's all inside of all of us. We all have a heart, and art is inside that. So when you tap into that, you have to pour out. You have to give back at the core. And when you do that, then everybody else can relate. I remember seeing people from the neighborhood. What was that young man name? There's one young kid that used to be from the neighborhood. He would come in like, yo, I'm gonna make sure nobody come and mess with it. You know what I mean? Like Rashad, he was cool, man, cool. Like he's like, yo, man, I'm gonna make sure nobody come mess with it. You know what I'm saying? And I would come by the days off and come do a tuck when I actually was able to drive again. I came back to check on it. I did an extension. I'm gonna come back and finish that up. But just to see it still looks the same. It hasn't been messed with, hasn't been tampered. And it's like a weird art rule when stuff like this gets done. It's like a thing that nobody messes with it. I learned that real quick. It's just a weird art rule or like guideline in the sense that nobody touches the artwork unless it's a personal beef, like a one-on-one. I personally don't respect you, so because I don't respect you, I'm gonna mess with your art. But other than that, it don't get tampered. If you've noticed any art in the city that's been there for years, example would be the Koa right here at that club. That club has been there for a long time. Saint's dad painted that mural's been there as long. I've been in Orlando over 20 plus years. That painting still looks the same when I first got here, and it has not been touched. So that just goes to show you that art is supposed to be in the community because it brings people together, all walks of life. So that's what the project showed me, that through trials and tribulations, just keep going, keep pushing, stay consistent, and find your tribe, and stick with your tribe to continue to help you elevate and grow.
I want to ask you guys, for me, like, have you ever felt like empty growing up, and then like later in life you will find something that you will lose track of time? Like, that's how I found out this was something special to me. So with this opportunity here, like Jason said, I would be out there just with a generator. You have to bring a generator out running till 1 a.m. to keep the light on and everything moving. And that's just, I found myself in this project. And through since then, I just kept on creating more and more ways. Like I said, like if you just keep up, monitor all of us, like we all unique, special in our own way, and we all got a message that we want to deliver. And like this opportunity allowed us to like really resonate with the community. Still to this day, I feel like I could walk to this park and it's beautiful, and I could have a good time. We making it colorful, we making it beautiful, but we also making it educational as well. So it's very valuable what we are creating. So I just think that like just keep on paying attention to finding out ways we can help as we grow as humans, and just trying to inspire each other through tough times. Try to grow, and this is where I resonate through art, and I hope to continue to just keep on growing and inspiring people, the younger children that you see on the walls. They can grow up and remember something that they grew up seeing, and knowing that everything is possible. It's always a way to grow throughout that concrete. And even look through Zora's poems. These are all people who left a mark for like what we're doing today. So sooner or later, we're gonna be on the wall. We're gonna be a memory. So you got to keep pass that torch, and I feel like that's our mission. So that's how I feel about this project. Yes.